Macy is once again telling her friends in the orphanage about the adventures of the brave sea monster hunters. But before she can finish, the caretaker comes in and tells everyone it's time to sleep. Macy waits until the caretaker leaves before getting her adventure gear and sneaking out the window for another journey. The next day, Jacob hears about a monster sighted near the ship. The captain says it's the Red Bluster, the same monster that injured him. They then see Jim Nickelbone's ship being attacked by another monster. The captain wants to catch the Red Bluster, but Jacob suggests they help the other ship first. As they sail through a fog, the crew is being attacked by the monster. When they get closer, they use a flare to distract the monster and fight it. Jacob and the hunting sailors hang from ropes and attack the monster with cannons and arrows. The monster tries to dive, but Jacob throws a harpoon with a buoy to track it. However, Jacob notices there are no birds near the buoy and seagulls appear above, meaning the monster is below the ship. The monster jumps out of the water and flips the ship, throwing some crew members into the water. It captures sailors with its tentacles. The captain and Sarah try to fight back. Jacob helps his friends and throws a harpoon at the monster's head, which finally releases the ship and sinks. But as Jacob thinks they are safe, a tentacle hits him and he falls into the water. The monster tries to swallow him, but he swims away and gets thrown onto the monster's back, getting stuck in its armor. Jacob takes the opportunity to stab the monster's back, which gets up and exposes its chest to the ship. The captain charges at the monster, leaping towards it and piercing its vital point with his spear. The creature falls to the ground, defeated, and the captain saws off a piece of its horn as a trophy. However, just when he thinks the monster is truly dead, it grabs onto him with a tentacle and drags him down to the depths of the ocean floor. Despite being injured, the captain manages to survive. Frustrated and upset, he orders his crew to head back home. Their ship is now destroyed and they are unable to capture the monster the captain hates most. In his room, the captain thanks Jacob for his help and tells him that once he captures the Red Bluster, he will retire as captain and pass the title on to Jacob. He explains that he found Jacob as a young boy stranded at sea and knew then that Jacob was meant to be his successor. As they return home, the entire town celebrates the return of the famous hunting vessel. Macy, a young girl, sneaks into the crowd and watches the celebration. She approaches Jacob at the bar and tells him that she is a big fan of his work. Her parents were also hunters who fought on the Great Monarch vessel, and Macy wishes to follow in their footsteps. Jacob admires her bravery, but he cannot allow her to join them on their next hunting trip to the Sea of Monsters as it is too dangerous for children. The young girl continues to insist that she will speak with the captain, so Jacob takes hold of her and places her inside the wagon, requesting that she be returned to the orphanage the following day. Captain Crow and his companions arrive at the royal palace, presenting the horn of the beast they had previously defeated on their voyage. Despite being rewarded by the king, they had not yet completed their main mission of defeating the Red Bluster. The king shows off the new, massive ship of the royal fleet called the Imperator. The navy will now be responsible for the hunt, no longer needing the services of Captain Crow. Naturally, Crow is enraged, stating that the weapons on the Imperator are useless and the navy general is incompetent. The situation becomes tense. But Jacob diffuses the tension by proposing a challenge between the ships, a race to hunt the Red Bluster with the losing vessel being destroyed. The king accepts the challenge and they set out to sea once more in search of the creature. Jacob believes that the Red Bluster has a thick hide, so they will need to utilize firebombs and long spears rather than arrows to defeat it. The captain warns the crew that they will be sailing beyond the Dregmore Sea, into waters never before explored by humans, with dangers beyond comprehension. With this information, the crew celebrates the beginning of their journey with a drink. However, one of the barrels is discovered to contain Macy, who snuck aboard the ship. The girl is full of excitement and knows all about Captain Crow's past, impressing him with her bravery at such a young age. As a result, Crow asks Sarah to accommodate Macy as a new crew member of the Inevitable. Sarah gives Macy a knife for protection and warns her of the consequences of disobeying orders. As night falls, the ship enters the feared Dregmore Sea and they throw flares to attract the Red Bluster. Macy is thrilled with her new blade, ready to join the hunt for the creature. The captain orders her to sleep, recognizing that she has the same gift as Jacob as a child, the instinct of a skilled hunter. Suddenly, the deck begins to shake as the Red Bluster approaches. The crew prepares for battle as the harpooners stand ready and the birds fly in. The attack begins and Jacob distributes the firebombs. The Red Bluster charges toward the ship and jumps aboard. The cannons blast at the beast, but it continues its charge toward the front of the ship. The harpoons are shot out, attached to ropes, and the monster starts dragging the ship at full speed. Despite the sails being opened, the monster continues to pull the ship without stopping. Red is clever and starts spinning on its axis, creating a whirlpool in the water and tossing the entire crew off balance. Jacob warns the captain that the boat won't hold and they must detach from the monster, but Crow refuses to back down. Macy sees the monster up close and all the sailors in danger, so she takes her knife and starts cutting the ropes to free the vessel. However, the captain shouts that if she does, she will be punished by being eliminated. Jacob runs to stop her but realizes the girl was right and allows her to finish the job. When the ropes break, the ship returns to its normal position, but Jacob and Macy are thrown into the water and come face to face with the Red Bluster, which just sinks to the bottom of the ocean. The duo manages to surface and climb into a small boat, while the captain threatens Jacob with a gun to hand over the little traitor. The monster appears from under them and devours the boat in just one bite. Once inside the monster, Jacob lights a lamp and they realize they are in Red's mouth. The man decides that he needs to explore the monster's interior, so he ties a rope between himself and Macy and begins climbing the creature's inner walls with his spear. The girl is pulled up and then realizes she has reached the monster's nostrils. Through them, the two can see the vastness of the ocean. The sailor notices that Red has surfaced in the water and is approaching an island. He says it will be time to eliminate the beast. But when he goes to untie Macy's rope, he puts the spear on the inside walls of the animal's nose, which makes it sneeze violently and throw Jacob away. The man is tied to the rope in a kind of bizarre bungee jumping until he grabs onto a coconut tree, with Red facing him face to face. The monster notices that there is still a rope on its nose and takes the girl away. Macy swings until she is caught in the monster's teeth with just one foot. Surprisingly, though, Red Bluster is calm and does nothing other than let Jacob throw himself on the rope and try to pierce the monster's eye, but Macy stopped him by cutting his rope before he could do something stupid. Jacob refuses to give up and rushes towards his spear for one more attack. Red uses its flipper to create a massive tsunami on the beach, which prevents Jacob from taking any action as he is holding onto a coconut tree. The monster decides that the battle is boring and leaves. The pair of friends get into a heated discussion, each one with their own stance on destroying the monster. However, they hear the strange noises of creatures coming from the forest and decide to seek shelter. A few hours later, at dusk, Jacob arrives in heavy rain in a giant snail shell they found. The man finds some fruit to eat and once again they end up arguing. Macy isn't sure if killing the monster is right. After all, it wasn't trying to harm them, but Jacob isn't about to change his mind. As the sun rises, Macy awakens to find a small blue creature stealing some fruit at their campsite. She approaches gently and manages to give it a treat, but when she picks it up, she steps on something that looks like an egg. Suddenly, Jacob appears and flings the blue beast away, catching Macy. However, on the way back, he steps on several eggs, causing them to break and the baby monsters to start screaming non-stop. As they try to escape to the beach, they are surrounded by the horde of creatures, which attract the colossal mother to the place. The duo pushes the sailboat into the water and Macy hurls the last critter at the giant mother, causing it to stop chasing them. But a bizarre, gigantic crab grabs the boat with its claws and tries to swallow them. Fortunately, the Red Bluster appears and scares the crab away. Jacob falls into the water with the raft, but Macy is on the giant crustacean's back. The red monster and the crab get into a fierce fight, but Macy jumps into the creek and into one of the crab's eyes, causing it to break free. Jacob throws his harpoon into one of the crab's paws and Red throws it away, showing all its fury. As the sailor searches for the girl, she appears on the surface, being carried by the little blue creature. With everyone safe, they need to solve the sinking boat problem. Macy calls Red and explains using fruits and the blue bug that they need help to get home. To everyone's surprise, the monster understands and lifts the boat on its head, carrying them safely towards the open sea. Jacob tries to explain to Red which direction to go, but the monster doesn't understand. So, Macy hangs on the rope and pretends she's flying, using her movements to guide Red. As Captain Crow arrived at an island known for its dark reputation among sailors, he met a terrifying sorceress named Gwen Batterby. The bizarre old woman led him to a shed, revealing her latest deadly creation, the Hand of God. However, the price for obtaining it was giving up everything he had in life. Meanwhile, Jacob struggled to catch fish with his spear, but the creature assisted him by creating a vortex in the water, causing the fish to swim in circles and jump into Jacob's hands. They caught so many fish that the blue monster became so fat it was crawling around. During a storm, they took shelter in Red's nostrils as it descended to the bottom of the sea. Jacob saw monster skeletons and ship wreckage, realizing that the war had caused destruction for centuries. On the inevitable, the sailors feared the blood moon, as it meant the witch was watching them. The captain noticed a huge shoal approaching, signaling Red's arrival. Jacob and Macy reached Rum Pepper Island, but Macy was saddened to learn that Jacob would take her back to the orphanage. Having become friends with Red changed their lives, but she eventually let Jacob go. As they said goodbye on the beach, Red smelled danger and climbed to the top of the hill, revealing the Royal Navy's ship, the Imperator. Jacob tried to stop Red from attacking, but when a sailor pointed a gun at it, Red charged at the army. The Imperator fired at the creature, causing Macy to be thrown away by the explosion. As Red approached the inevitable, the sailors loaded the witch's lethal harpoon with a special poison. When Red was just a few feet away, Captain Crow triggered the mechanism and slammed the rocket harpoon into the creature's side. The monster took severe damage and was completely stunned and motionless in front of the ship. Crow climbed on top of the creature and announced he would take it to the kingdom alive, while the sailors held it in a net of ropes. The crew warned that another boat was approaching, and when Crow looked through his spyglass, he saw that Jacob and Macy were still alive. Macy woke up and saw the captain lecturing Jacob, saying his behavior was unacceptable and they couldn't declare a truce with a monster. In a fit of rage, Macy grabbed her knife and tried to attack the captain, but was held back by Jacob. He put her back to bed and went to drink with Crow. Macy received a visit from Sarah during the night, asking her to help free Red. She knew it wasn't right, but didn't know what to do. As the inevitable approached the kingdom, Macy desperately tried to escape her room and ended up receiving an unexpected visitor. The blue monster slithered across the ship's hull and bit through Macy's bedroom window. Despite her joy at seeing the creature, she knew she had to act quickly. She searched through her books about monsters and saw that they all bore the same symbol of royalty, revealing that the king had lied about the danger posed by the creatures. Macy gathered her belongings and started to cut the ropes binding Red with her knife. It would take too long to cut them all, however. The entire kingdom had gathered to see the magnificent Red captured. The king declared them the winners of the competition, and Crow strutted across Red's back, claiming that hunters were the only ones capable of such a feat. But when the captain was about to drive his spear into Red, Jacob interrupted him and begged him to show mercy. Crow called Jacob a disgrace and drew his sword, ready to fight. The two men clashed over Red. Crow took advantage of the distraction and threw Jacob into the water. Red would have been finished off, but Sarah appeared beside Macy and helped her cut the ropes with one swift stroke of her sword. The bonds were broken and Red was freed. However, the poison still coursed through her veins, and she collapsed onto the ship and part of the palace. As the naval fleet aimed their cannons at Red, she tried to rise again, but only managed to collapse once more. From a distance, Macy saw the captain running towards a spear held by some statues. Red charged towards him at full speed, ready to take a fatal bite, but stopped short. It was Macy who had stepped in front of the captain. Jacob also approached and took Crow's spear, breaking it in two as a symbol that the monster hunt was over for good. The king and the entire population were shocked by what they had witnessed. As Jacob and Macy stood atop Red's head, Macy spoke to the entire population, revealing that the kingdom's books were filled with lies. The beasts did not attack peasants. They were merely stories invented by the monarchs to stir up hatred toward monsters. This war, therefore, was created out of pure deception. The king and queen were enraged by Macy's audacity, ordering the general to fire the cannons once again. However, the crowd shouted for Red to be released. The general decided to put his sword away, wanting to understand the true origins of this war by defying the orders of the monarchy. Jacob and Macy, accompanied by Red, set off towards the horizon, now living together as father and daughter in a world where sea creature hunting was a thing of the past. Do you have the bravery to join the hunters on their journey and confront the great monsters of the seas? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more movie recaps. We'll see you soon.